Welcome to this Hall of Fame interview. I am super excited to have with me my student Pritika.
Hello.
Thank you so much, Preets. That's what I call her, Preets, for coming on board. And like, I am so proud of your, the outcomes that you have, the achievements that you have had in the last few days and in the last few weeks. And I'm really excited for this interview. So thank you so much for agreeing to do this with me. And what would you like to share, Preet, now that you're here on the Hall of Fame spotlight?
First of all, it wouldn't have happened without you. And one of my mentors, she had told me, she had told this to us when we were becoming coaches. She was saying that it doesn't matter how big a coach you are, you will still need a coach. So my whole journey with this community started when I realized that I have been doing inner child healing for my students, and one of them is 53 years old. But still I need the healing which I am not able to do by myself. So this was the biggest challenge for me. I thought that I will be able to overcome it. I have helped many of my students overcome it, no matter if they are 20 years older than me or 15 years older than me. And most of my clients have been 40 plus and 45 plus. And I am 36. And when I was treating them, I was 35, you know. But even after seeing so much results in them, my biggest concern was that why is it that I am still going through these issues, even if I'm able to help people. But when it comes to the other topics that I take, which is productivity or manifestation, if there is some lack in me, whether it is on the productivity side or manifestation side, when I heal my students on it or when I help my students on it, I am able to heal that and help myself also with it. But with inner child healing, that did not happen. And mainly, I understand that when the inner child healing is for some people little more hurtful, more painful. We need somebody who can hold that space to a level that people really don't understand. In the sense that people really don't understand how much of a space needs to be held. And the way you held space for me was like, I can say, like, I've never seen anybody doing, the kind of holding space you did. That I think helped me to have the courage to face and get the healing done. Because this healing is a little more painful compared to any other resistances that I usually deal with related to productivity as a coach. But this is something more painful, and we need somebody to hold our hand for that. And we don't want to be vulnerable. While being vulnerable is a part of the profession, still we don't want to be vulnerable, especially on the inner child healing side. So that was something that I really needed, but I didn't even know how to vocalize that. And you just gave the exact thing for me. And the best part is you gave it to me before I asked it, I always say this, that I don't even think it, and when you say it, I realize that yes, this is exactly what I needed, and it just happens. So you have not only been helping me, healing me, you have also been showing me the direction, and me realizing that yes, this is exactly the direction I want to go. So that has been the best part about it. And yeah, it couldn't have happened without you, and the kind of changes I am seeing in myself, and more than that, the kind of traumas I had from childhood, which I did not even realize that I had, but it was still sabotaging me, and I was able to point it out and move forward from it. And all that just happened so easily, even though while going through it, it was a little bit hurtful and painful, but still the way I overcame it, that was magic. That was pure magic. So this has been lovely transformation for me. While there have been so many transformations that I can count on, like in the self personal development journey from 3 years now, this has been my like biggest one, I can say.
That's so beautiful, Preet. Thank you so much for sharing that. And yes, I totally agree. Of course, we all coaches also need coaches because, yes, we are definitely holding the fort for others, but at the same time, we need to take care of our own self, our own healing, our own past wounds that we are carrying. Um, and the beauty of this is when you heal yourself, it's not just you who's healing, but also your students get the grace of you healing in the process. So thank you so much for being that student, first of all. And you are such an inspiration, Preet. I always see you. You are that kind of a person who would always be like, yes, let's do this, right? This is something that I've always experienced with you. That whenever I come to you, that I've told you that let's do this, Preet, and you are like, yes, let's do this. So that kind of commitment, that kind of love that you have for people around you and for your mentors and for your students is something unfathomable, and it's absolutely so beautiful, Preet. So thank you so much for being that best student for me.
Thank you. You just like it just makes me so happy that finally I'm hearing somebody like always my teachers would be like I'm the worst student, but you are telling me that I'm the best student. So that's like big honor, big honor for me.
That's so beautiful. And what we would also like to know is what were the breakthroughs that you went through, like before joining the community, after joining the community, what were, and after, especially after we did our, child healing intensive one-on-one, what were the kind of shifts that you were able to experience? And I know that some shifts are at a very subtle level. We don't even realize that after it happens, that is when we start realizing, oh, this is something new, right? So we
Yeah.
would love to understand from you what were your breakthroughs that you went through. Um, yeah.
Yeah, there are actually so many, so I'll just take the top few, which is which I am seeing. One of the main things is related to subtle trauma that I did not even know I had, as I said. So that was a big shift for me. It might look very silly, but just that one shift would change the whole day in a way. As I said, my morning routine, it is very different from, it had been very different from other people. And the reason for that was childhood trauma that I did not even realize. And the best part is when I was able to overcome it, like it came like a aha moment. It was like I didn't even know it was that easy to overcome it. When you heal, it's like a switch. I keep saying this, overnight nothing changes, but it changed overnight for me. The way I was doing my morning routine as a night owl, it was very difficult for me. I was always sleeping at 3 a.m because my work demanded it in IT and everything. So my sleep schedule, everything was going for a toss. But as and when I was, finding out that this was a trauma, just understanding that this was a trauma. So one of the things that I can point out is revenge sleep procrastination that I have been doing, and the whole day goes in so much running around that in the night I really wanted the time for myself to watch something, and I end up sleeping late, and then I give myself the justification that, oh, in IT, when I was in IT I was sleeping at 3, so now I am in that habit. Of course not, actually. It was more related to wanting that space for myself, and then kind of shifting that and finding space for myself in the daytime, and that and being okay with certain things that is conventionally not okay. So that actually changed everything. this is something that was a very difficult thing for me as a
Yeah.
perfectionist. I was a
Mm.
perfectionist, and
Yes.
like I wanted to be this perfect mother, and taking care of my kid perfectly, like zero screen time. And I was all of this, and then this kind of control used to make my kid have more screen time. Like, she was fighting for more screen time. And I reached a point now when I'm like, no, it's okay. I can give her some screen time and I will be okay. Nothing is going to happen. Not, just if I give her for half an hour, nothing is going to happen. Like, I can calm myself down. I can use that time to give the space to myself, instead of the giving going for a revenge sleep procrastination, and going on watching something till 3 a.m. in the morning. That time in the daytime would help so much in resetting my sleep schedule. That was a big one for me. Again, for the morning routine, this was a big shocker for me, I've told you, which is the
Yes.
brushing my teeth thing.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
I had a, like, if I brush my teeth, it is like a mood off for me, and I had no idea why it was like that. And I didn't even think why it was like. I didn't even put my thought into it. All I used to do is, always my office, my school, it used to be at 7 a.m. Like, I had to leave at 7 a.m. So it was natural for me ki I will first go for bath, and immediately after bath, there only there is brush and paste, and I'll just go and brush my teeth right after my bath. And it's just, I wake up, immediately I go for a bath, and then I brush. Not a big deal. If you think about it, it's not a big deal. I realized that I was always procrastinating on brushing. Like, I'll take at least 30 minutes of time doing nothing, maybe even meditation, or maybe scrolling on my phone, anything I used to do, but I used to take time before going to brush my teeth, because first thing in the morning, if I'm brushing my teeth, it is going to bring my mood down. That was the thing. And what I realized is, this has nothing to do with mood. It was more to do with a childhood trauma, where I used to hate the flavor of the toothpaste, and I don't like mint. I'm averted to mint, actually. So that was the problem. And in childhood, my parents, of course, they will think that she doesn't like to brush, we need to make her brush, force her to brush. What they did was the right thing to do, but I did not know how to vocalize that mint is something I don't like, or the taste is something I don't like. And that force became like an big aversion, and a kind of like a trauma. And I was always running away from brushing my teeth, or at least I'll wait 30 minutes before. And the moment I realized that, I was like, okay, now I need to work on it. As a coach, I think that, okay, I just have to work on it. Tomorrow, let me try to brush my teeth first thing in the morning. As soon as let me try. Let me see where I get the resistance. Because this is what I tell my students when they have a resistance. I did not even remember. I was half asleep, when I woke up. And in that zombie mode, I went directly and I started brushing my teeth. I did not even realize. After coming out, what just happened there? And like, I had this bulb. I was like, did I really do that? And I'm not having a mood off because of brushing. Like,
Yeah.
how did this happen? I just went on to message you, and I was all jumping. And it's a very small thing, but we don't even realize how much our inner child gets affected by littlest of the things. But as in when I was going through these things, I was able to see. But this is still not the best part. The best part is, I have seen that people around me have also started changing around me. So I
Ooh.
have heard this. I have heard this from my mentors, most of my mentors, that problem outside is a reflection of what's inside. And as a manifestation coach, I say it in a different way. I said that any situation outside is a reflection of what's inside, which means that if I love myself a lot, I get a lot of love, right? So,
Absolutely.
so situation is, it's just law of echo. That's what we call it. So I knew it, but I didn't realize that the change would happen so fast. Again, very, very overnight change. And I still keep telling my student that just to say that don't be hard on yourself, I'll say that overnight nothing will change. It will take time. I still say that. But at the back of my mind, I'm thinking that Purva proved me wrong. I have changed
Yes.
overnight. But then I'm just telling them so that they are not hard on themselves. Like they shouldn't expect things to change from the next day
Yeah.
immediately, which is why I tell them, ki, don't be hard on yourself. We have time and all. But in the back of my mind, I was like, that happy dance is still happening. So that is also one thing. And everybody started changing. And that was the best part. Like, people have really shown me like a lot of love that I kind of did not expect. And
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, really? Like from the people who don't even show love, they are like showing love. And I'm like, this usually doesn't happen in my family. We are not people who show affection that much. As a from
Yeah.
childhood, that is, Indian parents are like that. The
Yes.
kind of love Indian parents show is like, did you have food? That's the kind of love we see. But
Yeah.
I started actually seeing more affection coming from my parents, and I'm like, really, is this
Wow.
happening? So that was, I think, the best part. There are so many, but still, I think I can summarize in these. I think these are
Yes.
the best ones. But I can keep going on. So there are so many.
This is amazing. Yes, you told me that, the things have changed, your surrounding changed, your environment changed. And what else can we ask for, right? When your environment changes, you are more focused, you are more, you even if there is some delay, you understand that it's okay. You need that time to heal, you need that time to, overcome all those, those resistances, and then you are in a safe space, right? Because you created that safe space for yourself.
Yeah, that is so true. We creating the safe space is another level. Like, we don't do it. We are always very hard on ourselves, and that is something that we learned from childhood.
So true.
Yeah, everybody does, and it's the pattern across families. Of that
Exactly.
our generation when we were growing up. So
So true. So
yeah,
true. That's what happens, there are so many we live by pattern, right? That's
yeah,
the uh, borderline. Like, we live by pattern, and some patterns are useful for us. They are called routines, right? That's the purpose. They are called routines because we are uh, people of patterns. We live by pattern, but some patterns are not useful for us. And that is what 95% people don't understand. And they
yeah.
don't take that action towards, healing from those patterns. Right. So I am amazed. I am so happy for you for having those breakthroughs. What I would like to understand is how has being in the community, going through the sessions, the 60 days journey, how has that helped you? And how has the processes that we did helped you in truly healing yourself and really overcoming your challenges?
Okay. So it was a kind of like a roller coaster ride for me, the 60 days, because most of the things I have taught my students also. There are things, so many things that I've taught my students, and I've seen changes happening in them. And one, so mainly there was a lot of validation for me as a coach. So I was doing both, right? As you said, we have to take two looks into it. One is as a student and one as a coach. So, as a coach, I was getting a lot of validation because over there, these processes that I was doing for my students, it was a very gut feeling kind of thing. So whatever I have observed, I've been very, very keen on learning human psychology from a very young age. I was observing people, like different kinds of people. And I think my IT job of 12 years, where I worked from startups to small Indian companies to big Indian companies to MNCs to 160-year-old MNCs, we are working on so many different kind of companies, and even colleges. I was in lecturer in college also. So all of these experiences got me to connect with so many people. So my, the way I'm looking at people, psychology was very, very different. And being an empath also helps, you know. So this was there anyway. So when I started learning about processes in my personal development journey, so the processes I was doing for my students was very much from my intuition. So I was directing them to do this, do this, do this, and taking them on this guided meditation where for some people I'll do one process, but for others I'll do another process. So it was a very intuition based, intuitive process that I used to do depending upon the problems that they used to have. And it used to come from the inside. And Always the only answer I have as to whether I have done it right is by looking at the results, because it's always an intuition that is coming from the inside. And every single time the results have been more than what I had expected. They have been like sky high, and they have been like so happy with their change and everything. So I did not really know that this was inner child healing in the first place. As I was going through the 60 days challenge, I was realizing that this I did at that time, but with slightly, change and everything. And this was a lot of validation that what I was doing was very right. And I was very happy that it was coming from an intuition perspective. I was able to do it by myself without learning much. And then it's like what I did by myself was like a 1.0, and then I learned a 2.0 from the challenge. It was like more upgrade, oh, this also I can do. And then I can kind of connect as to where this would help, with whom, which student this would help, and what situation this would help. All that I was able to connect. So this was a lot of information from me from a coach perspective. But from when it comes to a student perspective, it was a little bit intimidating for me. For going through my own problems, right? It was intimidating. So the biggest obstacle that I was having with my inner child, issues that I was having, right? So that one obstacle that I was having, I can't even name what it is, but you kind of know what it is, right? So that one obstacle, which was related to mostly perfectionism and proving myself and self trust and all that, so that I was not willing to face it alone. So in the challenge, I was kind of getting this urge to skip, getting this urge to keep it for later, and procrastinating and everything. And thankfully, you pitched in and you said that, we have to go for one-to-one sessions, because this is not, like there is a lot of painful things here. The problem here was to accept that what I went through was actually painful. You know, we all like
Yeah.
to say that I had an amazing childhood. How can I have a trauma like that? Or how can I have a bad situation like that? I don't have inner child healing issues, inner child issues, because my childhood was awesome. I had a good time, we all like to kind of say that. But
Mm.
as I see everybody in the world, most people, at the very least, most people, when I see them, I see even the people who have been my mentors and I've been their fan. Even those people also, I can see that no, their childhood has not been good. Somewhere I can see that it's not been such a good thing, even though they keep saying, especially if they keep saying. If they are saying that my childhood was theek tak, at least they are fine. But if somebody says my childhood has been amazing, or I turned out well, even though my parents hit me, they are lying to themselves. And I realized that that was the biggest
Yeah.
realization when you told that, okay, you have a lot. I'm like, really, do I have a lot to process? Like I was thinking,
Yeah.
but because I was running away from the challenge, it means I had a lot to process, and I was scared of it. I was
Yes.
running away from it. And there was this point where you were with me in the one to one, and I was still scared to move ahead.
Yes.
right? And then the
Yeah.
way you kept that space for me, you held that space for me, and the way you gave me the courage to move, right? That changed everything. I just needed that. I fe- um, I think I need to put it in a different way. The way we deal with certain situations in childhood, we create defense mechanisms around those situations to keep our brain sane, and we don't end up in asylum, in mental asylum. So we create these defense mechanisms. So now, when we are in this process of breaking the defense mechanism, the biggest threat that the brain feels is that we will end up in the mental asylum that we have been trying to avoid. Okay.
Absolutely.
So when I was doing the challenges alone, this was the biggest threat the consciousness was kind of feeling.
Mm.
But when the way you gave me that space to, hold on, and you are always there, you are there to protect me from going insane in a way, that was enough for me to deal with that and overcome that, uh, you know, and get healed. I hope I put it the right way. So that's where
Absolutely.
the whole thing changed. So the way you kept put that space was my biggest learning as a coach. Uh, I have been holding space for my students, and I have been getting compliments for that, just like I'm complimenting you right now. But when I did that with you, I realized that what I was doing was like this much, and what you did with me was like around this much. And that learning now I have been giving to my students, and there are some students who can kind of trigger me in the sense that
Mm.
um, they say something so
Mm.
uh, basically wrong. Okay.
Mm.
Okay, like for example, they'll say something like, she's a woman and she's saying that, yes, we are supposed to be slave to our husband, something like that she will say, and then that will kind of, I'll be like, what are you saying? I'll just
Yeah.
get furious. It will trigger me in a way, right?
Mm.
So
Yeah, yeah.
these things used to trigger me before, and I would be like, how can you think like that? You have self-worth, but the way I say it will be like a shouting only. I will be triggered. Because of the trigger,
Yeah,
but I end up helping them. But
of
my
course.
pitch is high and I'm angry,
Mm.
But
Mm.
after you did that, I again went through similar situation, but I did not get angry. I was still able to keep space for them, even though it sounded absurd to me. I was still able to keep space for my student and then help them without getting angry. So there also I saw a lot of shift. So yeah, it's been like as I said, like I had sent you a video saying, this is what I'm saying to myself, that I'm saying hi to myself again,
Yes.
because I've changed so much that I'm meeting myself, my true self, for the first time, and I'm just saying hi, you know. So that's where I reached, and it was a beautiful place to be for two things. One thing is that I was this healed and pure,
Mm.
authentic self without anybody's any external factors. One, and the
Exactly.
second thing is I can become whatever I want now. I am this kind of like a baby. I
Yes.
can become whoever. I can choose whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, do I want to be somebody who is always losing focus, or do I want to be someone who is having extreme focus all the time? I can choose it. I reached that point and I saw that changing in myself also. That was, I think, like the biggest of the breakthroughs that I have seen. So, yeah, this has been the
Wow.
journey.
Amazing, Preet. Amazing. And now, see, you were doing certain aspects of inner child healing, and now you are also a diamond member where you are getting certified as, inner child coach. And you're understanding the intricacies of inner child healing. You're understanding, and you're at the same time, you're also going through it. It's not
Yeah.
just theoretically you're learning, you're going through it. So what I would like to understand is, what do you feel? How important is it for anybody on this planet Earth to heal their inner child?
Um, Healing the inner child, in my opinion, is something everybody should do anyway. But I think one extra thing that is important for people is to understand and be okay that they did not have a good childhood. I think that is
Mm,
more important.
yeah.
People can easily get defensive for a number of reasons. And one of the main reasons is this so called Indian culture where you have to always obey your parents. No matter whatever they do, they are always right. All
Yeah.
these notions that are there, it will make people usually not wanting to go again, like they feel like they're kind of disobeying or going
Mm,
against their parents and all that. Thankfully, I didn't have it. I was always, as you said, do this. I'm like, okay, let's do this. I was like that. But I know many people are struggling with that thing a lot because parents, at the end of it, when we grow up, for us, parents are themselves the God because they are the ones giving us the food. We are completely depending on them. So they are themselves the God for us. So it kind of takes people time to realize that parents are humans completely capable of making mistakes. And that is something that they are not willing to kind of understand. And another thing that becomes a big problem, I feel, is people are very much dependent on their parents, even as adults, for
mm,
many different reasons. Men, especially, they are not taught the basic things like cooking and everything. That is one reason. And they are still staying with parents even after wedding. That is another reason. But women are more dependent because if they are working, then there has to be somebody to take care of the kid, and not every woman is okay with the nanny and all that. So we are all still very much dependent on our parents. So while being dependent, how can we kind of put a knife on their back is kind of the question most people have when they go for inner child healing. They feel like I'm doing a disservice, or I'm being a bad kid by taking help from them from one side, and on the other hand, I'm telling bad things about them, you know,
yeah.
or
Yeah.
acknowledging bad things about them. And that somewhere, people are having this thing. People need to
Mm,
first come out of that. Healing will still happen. Healing will happen the moment they come out of it. Then it's like this.
yeah.
They're like, okay, let me go to an inner child healing coach, get the healing done, I'm done. It's that easy. It's like
Yes.
acknowledging I have fever. What do we do? We check the temperature, we get the fever a couple of times, we realize that this is not a one time fever thing, I need to go to doctor. Acknowledging, then we go to doctor, we get it done. But that acknowledging that we have fever, we have got fever a couple of times, and now I need to check if there is an infection, this process itself is not happening.
Yeah.
So inner child healing is like a involuntarily process there. This is a bigger problem,
Absolutely.
I feel. People who don't want to acknowledge, they are very,
Yes.
and they define themselves by their parents so much that if I have to change their definition, my definition also will change. It's like
Yeah.
it's a crisis, identity crisis
Identity
situation.
crisis. Absolutely.
So all this is happening. So this big resistance that they have,
Yeah.
first that needs to go away.
Absolutely.
And then inner child healing is as good as just going to getting an appointment and going to a doctor, getting the
Absolutely.
tablets and getting
Healing
better.
yourself.
Yeah, I feel,
Absolutely.
yeah, that's
I
more
think that's
important.
that's such an important point that you have shared right now, Pritika, because 95% people are not even aware of the problem,
Mm.
right? They're not even aware that all their problems are coming from that conditioning that they went through. And this
Yeah.
is so, beautifully explained by you that first you need to acknowledge that there is a problem.
Yeah.
First, you need to acknowledge, you need to accept that there is a problem, right? And only then can you find a solution for it, right? And that's this is what can I say? This is something that I live for. This
Same
awareness,
here.
right? This,
Same here.
the six stages that we have seen, right, in inner child healing. The first stage is awareness. The second stage is acceptance and healing, and then you start healing, and then the inner transformation, outer transformation, state of intention, and then the state of natural being a natural manifester comes. But the first stage is awareness and acknowledging that yes, you've been through it, and not discounting your own childhood, discounting your own past patterns, and just living it as life comes.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for throwing light on that problem and that issue, that people first need to understand that there is something that needs to be healed, right? Something that needs to be acknowledged at least first,
Yeah.
right?
And I just
Amazing.
want to put out one more point on that is it has nothing to do with education. In the sense, I know
Exactly.
this person who has done multiple degrees, like BSc, MSc, then MTech, and then PhD, and planning to do the next after PhD. I don't know what is that. I forgot the name. So this person is planning to do so that also. Now he's already PhD. So this person, I was talking to him about how hitting children is wrong. Okay, and he's like, that's applicable only for the foreign people. For Indians, Indian kids can take it. And I'm
Hmm.
like, okay, I realize the problem, but
Yes.
emotional intelligence is a problem here. So let's not go ahead. Like I just didn't want to
Yeah,
argue
of
more,
course.
but it was like I was noting at the back of my mind that oh, after being a PhD, he's saying something like that,
Hmm.
and okay, this is not right, but I can't really do much unless he becomes my student. But that awareness has to come, and
Yeah.
as students also, like people become students only after they get that awareness most of the time. As I
Yeah.
said, like coming to us is more like taking that appointment and going to doctor,
Yeah.
but for that we need to acknowledge that I have this problem, so I need an appointment.
Yes.
So if he is telling that Indian children can handle being hit by the parents, that's itself the biggest problem.
Hmm.
Yeah, and it has
True.
nothing to do with education because he's a
Yeah,
PhD. That's
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, of course, of course. That's something that tells you about the mindset and the growth part, right? So
And conditioning.
yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. This has been an enlightening session. I feel, Pritz, the kind of discussion that we are having. One question that I would like to ask you is, what would you like to share about this community that we have, Visionary Parents Hub, and I'm sure that you have connected with some of them in the group. So, what would you like to share about this community as a whole?
Uh, One thing I feel is that here the code of honor is actually much stronger. I can say that convincingly because I have been in many communities. So it's very strong here. So the kind of it's easy to be vulnerable in this community
Yeah.
in a way,
Mhm.
because we know that everybody is inherently very keen on holding space.
Yes.
Of course, the whole community is like that, but I want to just especially acknowledge the diamond people more on this, because the way they have held space was beautiful. The way everybody is like acknowledging each other, celebrating each other, and everything, right? It's so beautiful to see. I am usually very silent in groups, but this is a group where of course, the time and everything is stopping me. But when I see the group, I just feel the urge to kind of participate more. And I make a mental note once in a while that I need to participate more here. That feeling comes in, and that feeling comes in because everybody is like that. You can even sense it in the texts in a way that I can't explain. It's a beautiful place to be. So that is what I really liked about this community. I feel the way you have um, told everybody, like explained everybody the code of honor, and the way they are applying it in their life is making all the difference, is what I'm feeling. Uh, they have understood it to the core, like everybody has understood it so deeply, and they are following it because they realize the importance of each of the code of honor that you have put in this community, and the understanding is very deep. I feel that is making all the difference, in my opinion. And of course, one that is after the joining and after the 60 days challenge, then they are also healed, and then they become this amazing people, amazing upgraded highest potential versions.
Yeah.
But even before that, also, I'm seeing the difference. That is what fascinated me. Because after healing, we become amazing people. It's a given. It's not much of
True.
a surprise right now. It's something that,
Mm.
of course, they will be better, much better people, much amazing people after they heal. That we know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what about before that? Even before that, I see the change, which makes everything much better in a way. So
Yeah.
that is, I think, the best part. And I can say that because I've been in many communities. You know that I'm
Yeah.
so many people, so many mentors I have.
Yeah.
But this is where, like, I kind of want to come back to again and again in a way. So that push, something is pulling me in a way. That feeling is coming because of that, the strong code of honor that you have put in. That's, I think, my favorite part.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Preet. It really, really means a lot. And for me, I say this every time, right? For me, every single person in the community is like my child.
Yeah, I have used that now. I'm telling that to my students now also, and that I feel is very important on many aspects. I want to just acknowledge that the first thing that happens to us when we go through inner child healing is a feeling of getting away from our parents, and the kind of comfort we have been getting from our parents, no matter how skewed it is or how toxic it is, like still the comfort of our parents was the little bit of whatever is what we were kind of holding on to. And as in, when we are going through the inner child healing, we need to literally let it go, so that you can get into that healing. And when you keep saying that I'm your child, I'm your child, and that gives that sense of you being a parent, like kind of, so there is something to hold on to when we are letting go of that. So, which is helping us with that same situation where, the mental asylum topic I had
Yes.
talked about, where, we have something to hold on to so that we don't slip into the insane path. So that makes all the difference. I know I'm talking very extreme situations,
No,
but,
that's okay.
that having, what's the word, anchor, it's like an anchor. When you
Yeah.
say that all my students are my kids, it's like this anchor. Without the anchor, the boat can go wherever, right? So that anchor being so strong, just by you saying that you are my baby, or you call me bacha, or all that, that anchor, mm, even if that's just a word, because the feeling and the energy you put into it, it's so beautiful that it, there is this feeling of I can overcome everything, because this healing has, we know for a fact that the healing can be painful, but I can now get over I can do anything now. Anything, like I'm willing to do anything. I'm unstoppable. That feeling comes in because of the security comes with the anchor that you have put in. So that's the most beautiful part of it, part of the whole thing that you're calling as your baby. I think the most beautiful part.
I love you so much, Preet.
Same here. I can't just begin to explain how much I adore and I love you, and how much you have changed my life, and this has been the best thing that has happened to me. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sweetheart. Thank you so much. One last question. According to you, um, what is success? Like, what do you feel success is all about?
Okay. Very vast question.
Yeah, yeah.
um, to be 100% present in all the areas of your life
Mm.
when you are in that area of your life. Of course, when you are in your working at the same
Mm,
time, you can't do all at the same time. But
absolutely.
being able to be 100% with my kid when I am with my kid, and
Mm,
being able to be 100% in my work when I am in my work, or 100% with everything, like the
yes.
fully into it. That to achieve that, inner child healing is a very important part of it. The reason being that, like you were saying, inner child healing is the bab of all healing. You're the mother of all healing, right?
Yes.
So, what happens is if you are not healed, your inner child is not healed, then there could be situations where I am working, but all the time I'm thinking about my kid. And or
Mm,
I'm with my kid and I'm all the time I'm thinking I have to take care of my kid. So when will I work? Or
mm,
I don't have time to work, or all of these things. And this happens when you are not healed. But when you heal, you can reach that point. I'm not saying I'm 100% reached there. I'm still in the process, and
all are
I
work
think the
in
process
progress.
is it's an ongoing process anyway. But that feeling of being 100% into anything that you do, it could be
Yes.
something like editing my videos, or it could be something very simple, or
Mm,
it could be something like scrolling on social media. I don't even want to, like, it could be anything at
yeah.
all. Okay, washing your face, you need to do it 100. When you are doing it, do it 100% and give it all that. It could be
Mm,
as simple as that.
so
You know,
beautiful.
if you can do that without your mind going everywhere, that I think is the
Wow.
ultimate success, in my opinion. Yeah.
That's so beautiful, Preet. Thank you so much for sharing that because, yeah, many a times we go into troubles or problems because we are not present at that particular time.
Yes. Yes. And present in the sense that present with a lot of awareness also.
Yes.
In the sense that, as I was saying, there was this one client who was saying a lot of ridiculous things, like,
Mm,
women are very weak and men are something like that,
mm,
or, things like that. Women should be slaves to men, such things. And a woman was saying
mm,
something like that, and it was triggering me. And
mm,
I was not being aware that I was getting triggered, and I was just shouting. It was like, I was angry. I'm like, how can
mm,
you think like that? I was like, you are a woman, and how can you think like that? I was just going through all that. I was showing my anger to her. And as a coach, we shouldn't do that. I acknowledge the
mm.
fact that I was just 2 months into coaching and I was very new. So we can make mistakes. It's okay. But
Absolutely.
that was still something I was not aware of. And after the healing, I was being aware. Like, I was still getting triggered. It's not like I was not getting angry. Of course, I'll get angry. Like, it's not like. Of course, there are so many things in the world that make us angry, whether it is
Yeah, of
terrorist
course.
attacks or
It is an emotion. Of
it's an
course.
emotion, and we'll get angry. But getting angry is one thing, and acting it out is also one thing. So I got angry at some one of my clients because it was such a ridiculous thing that she said, and I was like, okay, I am getting angry. And I realize I'm getting angry. But she is coming from a point wherein from childhood only this is what was told to her, and she learned that, and she is doing that only. I am the one who has to break that paradigm and take her out of it. So the moment I thought that, I became calm and I was able to help her, and I
Mm.
succeeded in getting her out of it. And
Yes.
I was able to do that before also when I was angry, and I was able to do now also. But I was so proud that I did not show the anger. The moment I
Mm.
got angry, I had this awareness coming in, telling me that you are angry, it's okay, but don't show the anger because she doesn't deserve it. This is something that
Mm.
has been taught to her. You
Yes.
help her. Then I was like, okay, and I took a deep breath and I was okay, and I was able to help her calmly.
Yes.
And that is the 100% I'm talking about. That if you see just 100%, then it could be me showing my anger is 100%, being authentic self to my emotions, no.
Yeah.
100% in the sense, 100% awareness
With
also should be a
awareness.
part of it. So
Yes.
I think that's the ultimate success,
Amazing.
where you be
Amazing.
100%. And I think that will happen only when you do something that you love. If you are in a
Absolutely.
career that you don't like, then of course it will not
Not
happen.
possible.
Yeah, but you need to be 100%, then you have to be doing something that you love and making money out of it. And
Yes.
yeah, and reaching the freedom, financial freedom
Yes.
situation. That has to happen. So it's a journey, but I am also in the journey.
Yes.
That's what I'm looking for. But thankfully, through inner child healing, I have reached to a certain extent. And because our journey is continuing, I know I'm going to reach there faster.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm very happy. And previously, I was very much like that. When I was with my kid, I was always thinking about the work. I was thinking, oh, I have so much work, and I was not
Mm.
able to give her the 100%. So I was not truly authentic to her, and she was also, of course, sensing it. And now that I am being 100% with her and authentic with her, the way she's responding to me has drastically improved. And we are like, it's the closeness, the relationship has become so strong, which was not there before. So everything kind of changes. So success, when you say success, we have to not only think about the career or the money, it's about success in relationships, success
Yes.
in every single way, success in how to manage time also, for that matter, and acknowledging that there are things in your life that you can delegate, whether it is cooking
Yes.
or whether it is cleaning. We can delegate stuff, and identifying which to delegate and which not to delegate, all that comes under success. So all this is like 100%, giving it 100%.
Absolutely, absolutely. Amazing share, Pritika. Preets, thank you so much for being here on this Hall of Fame interview. I can't wait to see you grow to the next level. I can't wait to, give that Hall of Fame trophy as well on the stage. That's what we're going to do this year, definitely for sure. And I can't wait to see you grow even more.
Totally my pleasure. Seriously, I'm so happy to hear that you are also saying that this has been an informative talk, and it's like it's a big honor for me coming into the Hall of Fame again. A big honor for me, and all this happened thanks to you, and thank you for coming into my life. Seriously, I
Absolutely.
can't begin to explain how grateful I am. That you have been this. You have not only been helping, you have also been a guide to me, and like you were very clear on maybe reading people in a way where you were very clear that okay, this is your next. How are you not seeing that this is your next step? And I was like, oh yes, this is I was not seeing it. I had my limitations because of my inner child issues,
Mm.
and because of that I was not seeing it, but you were able to see it. And when I just did what you told me to do, suddenly big success. This just kept on happening, and I know many more to come and can't wait.
I'm
Seriously, can't
always,
wait.
always there for you. You know, this is a lifelong
Yes.
relationship that we have, and let's get on it and make the
Yeah.
best use of it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I can't wait where this goes and how the journey is going to unfold. And I'm so, so
Absolutely.
excited for the next chapter and the next chapter and next chapter.
Yes.
So yeah, so, so excited. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Pritika, once again, and also to the viewers who are watching this interview, who have watched till now. Thank you so much for watching it till the end. I hope you were inspired by Pritika's journey, Pritika's breakthroughs and successes. And I'm really looking forward to interviewing you next. So let get on board, and I will see you very soon. Bye.